But we will start with Roman Puga versus Tanner Tembley. Now, I actually think this is the best fight in the card, personally speaking. I think this is probably the most interesting fight in the card, with two new fighters to the Dynamite's Contender series, and the most interesting aspect. Now, Tanner Tembley's 7-0 versus 5-1. Puma, he has won 2 in LFA. Tanner's won all his fights in LFA. If we quickly go check it, Tanner's not fought the greatest competition. I mean, they're okay records. There's some good finishes. He's looked good in most of these fights. He's looked good inside the Corey Taylor fight. That's where he probably took his most adversary, I would say. He fought very well there, and then the Cole Axel fight, he took a lot of adversary there as well, but he fought well inside both them. Shanina Shatana, I actually haven't seen that fight, but judging by a guillotine strike, I'm sure it was quite nice. But we will move over to the likes of Roman Puga. Roman Puga's last 2 wins have been brilliant. This one he came in as a massive underdog, or not a massive underdog. Oh no, sorry, I thought he came in as an underdog. He came in as a slight favourite. I'm sorry, but it was a great finish. He was maybe a bit undersized. His opponent was definitely on top of him, about to realistically gang into his rhythm, then got caught and finished instantly. And the same Hasmaz Trad. That was a bit of a harder fight from you would think and look at 3-2 or 1-1 and say, oh, he's terrible or blah blah blah, but he has a massive very, very big amateur career, so that's kind of what I would give in Puga's favour. Now I do have my notes in front of me, so I'll give a quick summary of most of the fights. In the Cole fight, I felt that Tanner was maybe a bit flat-footed. He wasn't really using too much movement. His striking was okay, it had a bit of pace, it was alright. His pressure when he got him on the cage was very, very nice. His real game plan is to try force someone onto the cage side, land knees, land strikes, just kind of uncomfortable, leave them a bit uncomfortable, unset their rhythm, and then look for takedowns. Maybe not the heaviest wrestler or greatest ground control, but he has a lot of pressure on the cage side. Killing Quick is able to keep him on the cage side very, very well. His mixture of weapons on the feet work very, very well. His style is just to tire out his opponent and force them to carry his weight. I like his killer instinct. I like the way that he keeps it kind of slow when the finish is there. The Cole fight's a good example of that. He had Cole rocked a few different times. He never rushed anything. When at the mat, he gets the arm and guillotine with a great finish, and it looks very, very well. Nice clean transitions to stay on top, especially when he's on the ground as well in the sub aspect. Inside the Taylor fight, I would say I like his combo striking. As I said again, I like his way that he likes to strike to get into the clinch. I like his knees, I like everything else. Of course, he gets standing TKO and knees and punches inside that fight, which works perfectly because once he gets someone into the corner, it works. He has great pressure hitting. I would give a few negatives, is that he is hittable. He leaves his chin open for the way that his stance is and the lack of lateral movement. His chin is always there. He doesn't move, as you would say, with the punches, and keeps head off center line. He doesn't keep his feet moving. He's just very, very stationary to get the most power. It works. He's able to crumble people against the cage on massive knees and elbows. Gets his opponent tired out. Gets his opponent to work on him more than he works against his opponent, if you understand what I mean. He gets his opponent to get into his fight and carry his weight. And suddenly I would really say that Tanner is someone that needs to kind of push someone into his own sort of fight. He's not someone that could really fight the likes of Puga, which I will explain in a minute to what I mean, but he's not someone who could fight the likes of Puga. Great time to move over to Puga. Roman Puga is a brilliant boxer. Roman Puga has been a great boxer his whole career. He has done multiple boxing things. I think he's won gold in certain aspects of boxing. I'm not sure what it was, but I think he's won same thing as Holly Holm. I can't think of what it's called. Golden Gloves. I think he's won one of those at like youth age. But you can see it in his fights. His boxing is crisp. It's one of the best things about him. In the Nevada fight, he definitely was. Nevada started with some heavy leg kicks that kind of unset Puma, but then the first second that they kind of got caught in the actual thing, he was overreaching because he was a lot taller than him. The first minute they dipped his head, Puga caught him, Puga got him. Puga didn't give him a chance to recover. He did get picked with a leg lock, which is, I will say his takedown defense isn't the greatest, and it does leave a few holes, but I like how quick he is in the ground. I like his transitions, I like his rolls, I like the way he always tries to finish on top. It's one of those ones where heavy leg kicks, he gets leg picked, but he gets out instantly, because obviously Nevada's still a bit hurt. He gets out, starts landing again, drops Nevada instantly. There's no real question. He's very, very dangerous on the feet, very powerful hands. I know 1-on-1, as I said, doesn't seem like a lot, but his amateur experience with Fromm's Tad is pretty fair. Inside this fight, I think it was more just the knees in close, kind of forced scrambles. There was a lot of triangles, a lot of sub attempts. Faraz ended on top quite a bit. Then at the end of the round, Trag got on top again. Just the subs from his back were a bit of crazy. Like, the sub threat is there. That's something I would say to not sit inside Puka's guard. I think Puka's a very, very active fighter who knows not to sit in his guard, and is a very, very, very heavy boxer with great takedown defense and great ground transitions to stop a lot of things. I will go Puka at this one at 4-6. I do think it's probably the best fight in the card. I do think Tanner and him will have a banger. If this is the card order, if this is the first fight, we are going to start with probably the best fight of the night. And we will move down to the next fight, which is actually two boys have been on the show before. Alec Lorenz and Muhammad Ali. Now, both these boys have obviously lost to people that have gone on crazy runs inside the UFC. He lost to Ivan Boyatrowski and he lost to Abdul Rahman Diak. Of course, both these, I think Yamanatski is now gone on 12. I think he's down 12-0, and Boyatrowski's now gone 8-0 or 9-0. So, of course, these two have had their time away. I actually broke down Lands the first time that he fought last year, and the same stuff still applies. He's still a decent striker with okay groundwork, but he's still beaten absolutely no one. I mean, he's still beaten complete and utter cans. Like Ben Parrish, Big Tuna, I laugh at his name again, but I mean, Darian Avian's the first person knocked out. We've seen Darian Avian now. Darian Avian's been on the show. Darian Avian got flatlined by Dante Johnson. Like, I mean, he didn't even look settled inside that fight. One punch took him straight off his feet. There's a very, very good chance that this is the last time you see Alec Lorenz, and perfectly fine with that, because this man is nowhere near the quality of the UFC. He's a very decently mixed... He's very average in his martial arts, let's put it that way. I was going to try and say he's very mixed in what he does. He has a great mixture of things. He has good striking, good grappling. They're okay to a normal level. They're rudimentary, but once you get actually down to it, Ryan Parker is probably one fighter that I think everyone highlights while talking about this, because it's probably the only fight he's actually had where he was pushed into a lot of trouble and he looked fucking terrible. After about the first 5 minutes, he didn't look very, very good. Of course, Yamarak finished him with one strike because, again, he's done that inside the UFC. I'm not going to actually act like that isn't the thing. Just the same way as I said last year, he's only beaten cans. He's beaten absolutely nobody. There's no tests for him. I think the man will struggle almost against anyone, and Muhammad Ali is definitely going to win this. I'm just going to say this right now. Muhammad Ali is also not very good. I'm not going to sit here and say that he's UFC level, because he's not. He has also beaten a very, very low crop of things. Like, I mean, 1-0, he beat 1-6, 7-17, 23-10, not bad by decision. That was probably one of his hardest fights. But then 7-9, and obviously Boyatrowski beat him. But the main difference here is that Ali is a world-class jiu-jitsu and grappling specialist, to where Lorenz is just your average regional scene American fighter. I believe you could take him off any card in any promotion around the US and you will find the same level of fighter. This is just... I'm not actually sure what this is, to be honest with the UFC. Maybe they just don't have names to call because they're pulling the Contender series and the Ultimate Fighter now, draining MMA dry when there's basically 5 other promotions around the world. I don't think you can grab everyone on planet Earth, so I will give Ali, I do think that he's obviously the better grappler. He has the heavier leg kicks and the heavier hands here. He did actually have a little bit of success against Boyatrowski with the leg kicks for it and finished. I'll go with a first round finish here, just because anyone watching this video could probably give Lenz a fight, to be genuinely honest. Like, there's no real point of me wasting my time here. Go with Ali. Next, we move into Logan Paxton versus Christian Perez. Now, Christian Perez has been on the show before. He lost to Moel Souza in the third round. He had a great fight that night. He maybe gassed a little bit trying to get the finish and overzealous, but he still had a great fight. And of course, he's fighting the Wolverine, Logan Paxton. Now, I actually thought Logan Paxton was on the show before, but I think he was actually rumoured to be on it because he wasn't. He is fought on. Forgot about this. He's fought on great cards known as Solid as a Rock FC. Solid as a Rock FC has to be one of the worst MMA promotion names I have ever heard. Now, there's one thing I forgot to mention at the start of this, because both of them come from LFA primarily. If there's an American fighter in LFA and they're not Brazilian, I usually don't like to go for them because it's like Cage Warriors. It's like Tough Enough. It's like even Cage Rage, if you want to go that far back, but even like, you know, Bama. All these people, Octagon, KSW, they all know that there's going to be a chance of them getting to the UFC, so they give them the shittest possible matchmaking ever. And this is exactly what Logan Paxton has. So he loses that fight, right? Then he fights Charlie Kennedy, 6-5, 0-0, and he's 4-1. Kerry Latimer, who is 14-43 at the time, and now I think he's the batter, is 14-52. Once you see him on a record, you know the person that he's like, the person who's been put here is fucking terrible. And Michael McDonald is probably his only one besides Gus Damas, which, to be honest, is probably one of the worst fights the UFC have put on their channel for like a Dana White's Contender Series fight, because it was literally just grappling, like it was holding me against cage. It was like Islam versus Ian for most of it, because Logan Paxton barely done anything. Even the finish was a bit early, if you want to say it. It was a good elbow inside, but Gus hits the mat and the ref stops it instantly. He was still there. It just, you know, guy can just, that is supposed to be one of the worst fights they've had on the UFC channel to show a fighter here. To be honest, I don't really have a lot of good notes about Logan. He had some good head kicks through it. He looks comfortable on the feet. There's wrestling and takedown threat is there, but he loops a lot of shots. When he comes in, his head goes low and he loops over. I have no idea why, but that's just the thing. For me, it seems like the way that Perez fought last year and the way Perez has fought for most of his career, as obviously I broke him down last year, his knees, strikes, takedowns, everything about him is just completely mixed well together. I do think this is the ultimate kryptonite to Logan. As long as he can keep the cardio this time, I think he obviously will set himself a tiny little bit more. But if Logan comes in with his weird throwing style with his overhands, he will get caught by a knee, he will get caught by an uppercut. Christian is someone who can adapt on the fly. This is someone who can definitely get Logan's complete game plan down instantly. Logan, almost watching all of his fights, is just the complete same. He's someone who doesn't really, to be honest, why he hits me as someone who's able to win on the regional scene, realising that there's no need for a change, there's no difference in it. He's able to win on Solid as a Rock FC, so there's no need to change. He's able to beat lads who basically just finished their 9 to 5, who basically just finished their plumbing job into the fucking octagon, finished their 9 to 5 from the office straight into the octagon, who will nowhere near the right talent. I'll take Christian here. I think Christian gets the knockout. I think he gets a finish. I will go with Ali to get the finish as well, and I'll say Puka. I think they will go to decision. I don't think he'll get the finish. Next we move into Blade, Douglas Rodriguez versus Trent Miller. Now, Trent Miller is back again. Trent Miller lost to Ryan Ganada inside the first round. I'm not going to waste too much time here. Douglas Rodriguez is the classic Brazilian fighter from the regional scene. Like, he fights in Future MMA. I've watched all of these fights. They're all basically the exact same thing, and what I'm trying to say is that he swings wildly, he swings crazily, he's very, very sloppy, he's hateable. He's someone that just has power. He's someone that comes from the Brazilian regional scene that has power. He's someone that can just throw winning close. He got taken down inside this title fight. He didn't have great takedown defense. He got on top, but he was comfortable sitting down. There wasn't a lot of urgency. I think he knew he wasn't in too much danger, but it's just one of those things where his striking is just not great. Like, it's just so wild when someone's in close. And yes, I do think he'd be under any real danger if he wasn't fighting Trent Miller. Again, Trent Miller has come in here after fighting absolute nobodies. Like, I mean, classic regional scene stuff. Classic, like, you're 3-0 fighting someone who's 0-5. 0-10 now, and I seen this fight when I was breaking this down before, and I laughed at this then because this man physically walked out, got one strike, and just fell and quit. Trent is just someone who is just nowhere near the UFC level. I mean, you're recalling him back to Contender Series after beating someone who's 3-3 in Tyler Smith, who's 3-4, who was a heavy wrestler, who was okay. But Trent just didn't look good inside the fight. Trent isn't a good fighter. He never has been. Douglas Rodriguez played. It's nowhere near good either. This probably won't even get a contract. But Douglas Rodriguez will probably finish him inside the first 30 seconds to a minute and get a contract based on that. This is another Cam Teague. This is another... the other two people that have gotten 2 other chances on this card just because they're American and have been finished badly. This will happen again. There's no real shock on this. I'm not sure why the UFC are doing this. There must not be many fighters they can actually sign or get in on this time. As Trent Miller and Alec Lawrence do not deserve a second chance. I'd even argue Ali doesn't, but at least Ali, being fair to him, at least looks good in his core stuff, his core mechanics. And then we move into the main event, and yes, another person gets another chance for Karine Brito. I'm getting sick of this fucking week, but yes, okay, Karine Brito. I'll start with Karine Brito first, because obviously fun fact, if you didn't actually know about this channel, I've been breaking down MMA for maybe 4 years now, and I may have only started doing it maybe a year ago. I was taking on notes towards these. I have a lot of notes about multiple fighters over the years. Karine Brito is one I remember because he's from Aquagon. I did rewatch the majority of fights. And again, Oban Elliott is a hard fight to get in the Contender Series. There's no argument to that. I won't argue that it was a hard fight to get because Oban Elliott obviously dominated him wrestling, dominated striking. Just really made Brito outclassed. Though Brito has moments, but he still made him look outclassed. In my honest opinion, Brito is the exact type of fighter that Octagon want. He's an explosive, fun fighter, but lacks a lot of the key attributes of MMA, lacks a lot of the key abilities in MMA that you actually need. He doesn't have great takedown defense, not great grappling. His striking is fun and exciting, but he lacks the core mentality to more preserve energy. Someone who tries to go for the big stuff. He's like Michel Pereira. He tries to go for the flips, he tries to go for the big punches, he tries to go for spinning back fists and mad kicks and all this, and leaves a lot of holes. He has power, he's quicker inside this fight, he has a lot of speed on the feet. If he lands, he can genuinely end the night. My main issue is his lack of grappling, his lack of real IQ inside the octagon, the lack of experience, the lack of really going for it. I will say that Octagon is not a great promotion. He's really not being pushed to high talents here fighting an Octagon, being genuinely honest. Jolton Lutterberg is 41-11, 23-11 from, I think that's Slovakia or Slovenia. I don't know which one it is actually. Slovakia. It's just one of these ones to me where I can't see him being able to beat someone who I think is as skilled as Nemo Frez. I don't like Nemo here. I really don't. I hate his attitude. I hate the way he fights. I don't like how confident and cocky he is. It's annoying because he acts like he's already in the UFC when he's not. He acts like he's going to be when he hasn't won already. I would love to see him lose. I just can't sadly say he will, because every key attribute is to Nemo here. Everything is in his favour. He has the wrestling, the grappling, the striking. The only thing he doesn't have is speed here, but I can see him mixing in a lot of grappling and wrestling because, as I said, Burrito gasses. Burrito has no real IQ. Burrito is a terrible grappler. This all leads to probably a Fazel sub, even though I don't know if he really wants to go for it, but he can. We'll talk about his the fight against Jake Bremen on Jake Paul's promotion. Again, I will say that I think this is a bit of a fuck you to Jake Paul and Netflix, to be honest. I do think this is a bit of a signing of, fuck you, we're going to try to take one of the best talents you could probably build per round. He's from Kyrgyzstan, which will play another big role. If you don't know, being a Kurd is massive around the country. There's millions of those around the world, and he gets a lot of support. Watch any one of his fights, and all of it is filled with Kurd and power. Kurd coming to the UFC. Kurd. So the UFC know what they're doing. Then they know what they're doing. Even if this goes to a 3-round dirty shit slog, and he probably doesn't deserve a contract, he'll get one, because Dana and the UFC will say, "Fuck you, Jake Paul," and "Hello, Kyrgyzstan," or "Kurdistan, we've signed a massive talent." I look at it that he shovels a lot of punches, and what I mean by that is when he's in close, he doesn't swing big. He kind of I don't know how to explain it. I suppose that's short of movement. Kind of like this. When you're in close, he's like, his arms are like T-Rexes. It's like how I assume getting punched by Jordan Henderson would be, or sorry, not Jordan Pickford. How I assume getting punched by him would be, or like a midget or something punching you. You know what I mean? Like, so really, really small arms, because he has good takedown defense, and even when he was on his back, he done good ground reversals, and he was getting on top. Then he got into his back, then he started smiling and taunting and getting cocky, and look, he was in no danger, but he was very happy to sit on his back. I don't really know what it was, to be 100% honest. His kickboxing is really, really good, but the speed isn't there. He's able to slip out a lot of, he was able to get a good slip out of rear naked, and even though, yes, he was comfortable off his back, and he turned it around well and could put in a mixture of his striking, I don't know, it's just his opponent wasn't very, very good. His opponent was a big bag of milk. Jake Babian is nowhere near really good enough. The man had worse cardio than me. If you actually don't believe me, watch this fight. I've never seen someone gas so badly after about 3 minutes of grappling. He came into the second round, and he almost, I'm surprised he got off the stool, because to be honest, it looked like he was about to collapse standing up. He was that genuinely tired. It was kind of a bit odd. To me, it seems that Fazil is very, very good with kickboxing. He's very, maybe a bit slow, but he's very, very good. His takedown defense is there. He has good sub game. It's just the cardio of his opponent. And yes, I watched the Jakub Samanon one as well, and this fight. They're all basically the same finish. His opponent just gasses enough to where he's able to land a straight overhand, or just maybe land a big strike. He'll stand straight in front of them. He is not taking too much damage, not getting rocked. He's not really faced too much adversity, which a lot of people on this show don't. And then they come in against someone and get cracked, and then they realise, oh shit, I'm not invincible. To be honest, I do think there's a lot of holes. I think he's very, very powerful. I don't know. Look, I do think Fazil wins this. It's just, I'm not very confident. I do believe that this is one of these fights where there's one touch power here from both. There's definitely a KO. I can just see Fazil using a bit too much of his wrestling, a bit too much of his sub game to take Brito out, and I think this will be Brito's last chance. But if you did enjoy the video, please hit the like button or hit the subscribe button. I'll be back again to do this. I'll have a live reaction to this tonight. We'll see if I'm correct with everything I said. And yeah, I'll see you in the next one. Peace.